All right. So, welcome to another episode of Fiercely Made Fit with Tiana B. I am your host, Tiana B. And today I have another special guest with us today. Her name is, you go by Olivia or Liv?
Either one. My
All
friends
right.
call me Liv, so you can call me that.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, we have Liv with us here today, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and kind of give us a rundown of who she is.
So I am Liv. I live in Columbus. I've been here for 8 years now. And I don't know. Do you want my personal details or just my fitness details? I should have
Let's
asked.
let's stay fitness related. 'Cause I
You
would love
got
to
it.
know more about you, but let's stay fitness related.
Perfect. So I guess growing up, I never had done anything athletic at all. Like literally at all. And so when I was in college, I got involved in a CrossFit that I did for just about a year. Um, and then I ended up moving and kind of got out of the habit of doing anything active at all. And then really over COVID, when we were on lockdown, the girlfriend that I lived with at the time, she used to be a runner. So she started running again and convinced me to come along with her. And we slowly progressed from running for about 10 seconds at a time to being able to run a few miles.
Right.
And then I was able to convince a different friend to train for a half marathon with me. So that was kind of the start of like my actual fitness journey where I was enjoying what I was doing
Right.
and looking at it from a different perspective of not doing it to be skinny or look a certain way, but because I felt healthy and I felt proud of myself. And then after that, I got out of running because I decided cardio was not my thing. And I am now training at a gym that trains people for different MMA. So doing different like striking and grappling classes.
Wow.
So training there, that's where I'm at currently, and I'm loving it. So yeah.
Awesome. That's actually that's seriously awesome. So that kind of, leads me into the first question that I want to ask you, and that is what motivated you to start this journey? I know you said during lockdown you had your friend that got into running and kind of helped you get into running, but can you give me like some more details on what got you started? Yeah, like that.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that honestly, from the very beginning, so when I wanted to do CrossFit and when I first started running, other than the small like social influence of like my friends that were doing the same thing that I wanted to be involved in with them, I would say that a majority of it was like body image issues and not feeling like I looked the way that I wanted to. And I was really focused on like the number on the scale or being in CrossFit, like we did things that were timed
For
or like
sure.
how many reps you could do or the weight that you could do. And I was really focused on comparing myself in terms of numbers to the other people that was there. And it felt very much like a competition. And it was hard because that was the first time that I'd ever done anything athletic. So I was obviously not good compared to anybody that was there. I could not compare myself. And that was really hard. And it wasn't a fun and it wasn't a happy place for me to be in because I was focused on that versus the way that my body was moving or how I felt. And then when I got into the running, originally, it was because of my friend. And then when I started breaking off and doing my own thing, I was running every single day just because I felt like it. And
Right.
even though it was really cold or even though I'd have to wake up early to go on a run before my day started. I just felt so good and I felt confident and I was seeing small changes in my body. And I kind of fell in love with that feeling of, it's okay if my tummy isn't flat because like it helps me stabilize my core to be able to run longer or
Right.
that those kind of feelings. And my legs can jiggle, but it's okay because they just took me on a 3 mile run this morning. So it was a cool transition to go from, and I don't know how it happened or when it happened, but it was somewhere in that running phase of feeling strong or feeling confident or feeling able, where before it was more focused on the numbers. And I
No,
think
for
that that kind of
sure.
sparked that, like, that motivation to want to keep doing it.
No, that's actually awesome, and I can definitely kinda relate to you when it comes to the numbers and everything, like, that feeling of not feeling like you're where everyone else is at, it can really get to you, and
Yeah. And it's
it's
so easy to compare yourself when that's where what you see all the media is comparing. And, that's how girlfriends talk when they're on the phone with each other. They're like, oh, this is how I feel today, or this is what I saw today, or
exactly,
so easy to
exactly.
do.
And I was just about to kinda dive into the whole media thing, like, when I first started my fitness journey, all I could rely on really was TikTok, and,
Hmm.
so many people on TikTok were way more advanced than me, so I wanted to immediately look the way that they did and be able to lift what they did. It was completely unrealistic, but,
Right.
I totally get where you're coming from.
I think a ton of people too, and maybe it's becoming more normal because I have seen it on occasion, but all of the influencers or the people that go viral, or what shows up on your For You page is people that have been doing this for a while, and that's why they're sharing, because they're, quote unquote, the experts, because they've been doing it for a while, or they've researched, or they've had their own teachers, so now they're our teachers. And that's
Right.
great, because we need the knowledgeable people. But what about someone that goes in and they're showing us what week one looks like, or month one looks like?
Exactly.
To where are we starting from? That's what would be more realistic
No,
than to
I
see all of
completely
the
agree.
people with the perfect bodies and the perfect form and the perfect everything that we can't do right away.
Right. No, I totally agree, but that leads me to my next question that I have for you, and I'm curious to know, what roadblocks have you come across, like, up to this point in your journey, what roadblocks have kinda made you pause in your tracks for just a second, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. Are you thinking more like physically or more like mentally or emotionally?
Any, you could go for any.
Okay. I would say physically, when I was first learning to run, I didn't realize how much there was to know about it. And that's really silly to say looking back on it. But I didn't realize the importance of good shoes, or the importance of how I was breathing when I was running, or the importance of training in different types of ways. So I was getting shin splints a lot, and my knee hurt really bad for a while. I had to wear a brace for a while.
Oh,
Just, that sort of thing. And then in between the running and the training now, I had surgery on my abdomen. So that kind of took me out for a second. And that's really when I had my big revelation of, I don't want to do cardio anymore. That I liked it and it served its purpose for the moment, but it wasn't my lifelong thing. Um, and it gave me that moment to kind of reflect. So those are some, I guess, some physical things that came in the way.
right, right.
Emotionally, I would say, I guess I could go both ways. That when there's been like big things that have happened in my life, whether it's been like traumas or breakups, or really big life changes, that sometimes I have leaned way more into the fitness and working on myself as an outlet, just because I didn't want to have to think. If I went to a striking class, then I knew that I had an hour and a half that I didn't have to think about anything else besides what my body was doing and what was going on
Right.
in that class. Um, and then other times, the emotions, those things got in the way to the point where I kind of secluded myself and I fell out of being active. And I think that that was so much more unhealthy for me, that even if I was working out too much when I was leaning into it as an escape, that's healthier for me in the long run than to not, because when you are stagnant, your body starts to suffer and your mind starts to suffer more. So yeah, I don't know if I even answered your question. Did I answer your original
Yeah,
question?
no, you did
Okay.
for sure. No, you you did, you absolutely answered the question,
Great.
and I totally like, though, for me, I'm gonna self-insert for just a second,
Of
like,
course, please do.
like, me, when it comes to my Roblox, it's definitely more mental than it has been physical. You know, like I
Mhm.
can say that I mean, physically, I've had my knee hurt. Like that's
Yep.
the worst that I've had is my knee hurt or my lower back hurt. But you know, mentally, it's really those mental roadblocks can really make you stop. And no
Mhm.
matter what period of time you stop, whether you stop for a day or a week, however long, it's the important part is really pushing yourself to get back into it. Like get your mind back into the right set. Like,
Yes.
uh, yeah, I could
I've
go on forever about that, but
yeah.
I won't.
I know I've had this conversation. One of my girlfriends that trains at the gym with me now, that we've left the gym and went and sat in our car and we've cried to the other person because we felt like that class or, that round of sparring just wasn't good, and that we know that we're better than that. And we've had a lot of conversations of, are we feeling judged by the people in the gym and then we're self-conscious and aren't performing our best? Or, are we having a bad day at work and we can't stop thinking about it even though we are at class, and now we can't focus like we should be able to? And, or these
Right.
just little things that we're thinking about. Someone made a comment and I'm worried about that they meant it this way, but they actually meant it that way. And
Right.
now I'm thinking about just even the little things can totally get in the way or whatever. And like you said, you just have to take that moment to reset and come back at it with a fresh attitude, because you can't just not do it. It's
Exactly.
too unhealthy to not.
Exact and that's a great way to look at it, seriously. But, we're gonna go ahead and tiptoe into the next question, and,
Sure.
um, I wanna know, and I'm sure the audience wants to know, if you've had like, when you first started this journey, did you have any specific goals? And since then, have those goals changed?
Oh, 100%. I think that I kind of mentioned it before, of my original goal of wanting to look a specific way.
Right.
I think that a lot of that came from wanting the positive attention from other people, and that I wanted them to notice what I was doing, or I wanted them to notice I was losing weight, or I wanted them to notice that I could lift more weights, or whatever the goal was that day. And I
Mhm.
really thrived off of that external validation. And I will not say that I'm completely away from that, because it still feels good. And
No, for sure.
I don't know if that's super, but I feel like that's something that a lot of people at least could relate to. Um, but overall, I try to correct my thinking when I get too far in that direction of, remembering what my body still can do for me, even if it doesn't look like the girl next to me, or, being proud of the accomplishments I've made from a year ago to now. I saw a video
Absolutely.
of me doing something at the gym about a year ago, and I remember thinking that I was absolute hot stuff in that video. And I just rewatched it, and I'm so embarrassed that I ever looked like that. But I think that, like, I know everybody that's stuck with one thing for a year can relate, that they look back and they are so cringy. Oh gosh. So the goals of more like, how much have I improved? What have I accomplished? Like, how have I changed mentally too? I'm at a
Mhm.
completely different headspace now than I was 3, 4 years ago. And I am really thankful for that.
Absolutely. I love that. But no, like, it's totally okay to, like, cringe at the stuff that you used to
Oh gosh, it's very humbling. That is for sure.
do. You know, you just have to laugh at it. You just have
Yeah.
to, or else you're gonna stay in that cringe phase.
Yep. Nothing else we can do but laugh.
So, I wanna know, and please forgive me if, I kinda already asked you, but I know I asked you about goals in the past that might have changed,
Mhm.
and I guess you kinda answered it when but basically my next question is, do you have any goals, like, moving forward? Like, do you wanna like, what do you wanna do moving forward with this?
Yeah, I think that my goal is at this point just to stay consistent. And I know that like my life for a little while has been pretty stable in terms of like I have a very specific schedule and I don't really change it. And
Right.
I've had other really big life changes in the past couple years, but my going to the gym has been the one thing that has stayed the same. And that is something that I would like to continue doing. And as I change as a person and evolve, I know that usually the things that aren't a necessity, like a day-to-day necessity, I don't have
Mhm.
to go to the gym today. Like that mindset, I don't want it to be a long-term mindset. I'm not making sense. Hold on. Let me rewind. I want to make sure that I stay consistent and don't ever think that like going to the gym or doing something for myself is a second tier priority.
Right.
So I don't know if I have a set goal of like a number or dates or like anything like that, but I know that consistency I think is going to be my biggest goal moving forward.
For sure, for sure. And, you know, it does take a little bit to become more consistent into your routine, but it can happen
Hmm.
nonetheless. Like, that's for everyone out there listening. Like, I know you may not see the results that you want like immediately, but as long as you stay consistent, that is the key. Stay consistent and
Hmm.
don't be hard on yourself.
I will say I literally just had a conversation like an hour and a half ago with my best friend about going to like classes or going to a gym or whatever that fitness looks like for each person, and
Mhm.
how hard it is to get started when you don't have the community yet. Um, and we had talked about, we had done some cycling classes in the past together, and it was so easy to go, even though we were new and didn't know what we were doing and couldn't keep up very well because we went together. So it was never
Mhm.
intimidating because we always had that other person with us. And then once we started meeting other people and getting to know the coaches, it was so much easier to go on our own. So we were able to be consistent. So
For
that
sure.
first little step of building the community is so scary. But once you have that, I think it helps with the consistency. And that's scary to do too, like putting yourself out there and like talking to people and like being vulnerable in that kind of setting. So that's
Absolutely.
that's a good goal for people getting into the fitness world in any capacity, is to build a little community with it.
I definitely agree. Oh my, it can be so intimidating to do it by yourself, but when you have someone or some people like with you, it makes it a little easier.
Hmm. For sure.
But moving on to our next question, I'm curious to know how has this entire journey or lifestyle that you've chosen impacted not only your physical health but your mental health?
Oh my goodness. I say all the time when I'm having bad days, I said, I can't wait to go to the gym tonight and just punch something. And it sounds crazy. And oh my gosh. Don't think that I'm crazy. I promise I'm not actually that bad. Uh, but it's so like the mental health aspect of it. I don't think I realize how much it has changed me until I'm not there for a week or two, or when my initial reaction, instead of to just be upset or say, oh, I just want to go get drunk with somebody tonight because I don't know how to handle what's going on at work, that I can say, I'm so angry and I know that. And the thing that I need the most right now is to go to the gym and get some of those feel good hormones like pumping in my blood and let out some of this anger in like such a healthy way. So I feel like it helps me process and it helps me cope and it helps just moving your body. It helps your mind so much.
Right.
I don't even know how else to explain it. Like, I guess that's really my takeaway from that. I don't
I
know.
mean, no,
I don't
and
know how to
that's
wrap that
totally
up.
fine. Like that is absolutely it's an answer, you know? Like this has helped you cope and I think that is a very reasonable answer.
And I think, um, like physically seeing myself being able to do things that I wouldn't be able to do if I wasn't staying active makes a really big difference. That especially getting older, like I guess I shouldn't say older, like I'm not even 30 yet, but I'm getting closer to 30, and everybody says that 30 is like when your life changes, whatever. Like that's when things start really changing with your body. and you're like an
Mhm.
adult, not a young adult anymore. And I see so many people that are only maybe 5, 10, 15 years older than me that like can't do things physically. Like they
Mhm.
can't do it because they've just sat for so many years, or they've, whether it's maybe at work and they don't have the option to move. It might not be any of fault to their own or whatever the reasoning is, but I don't ever want to not be able to use my body how I do now. So I think staying active in a healthy, and not, I don't want to say healthy, in a way that keeps me happy
Mhm.
is really important, because that's what's going to be able to allow me to stay consistent and have that sustainability of doing it long term. And that's going to help my body stay active and being able to do the things I want it to do as I'm getting older.
Right, right. No, I absolutely agree, and I honestly, I feel like in this case, like, we're not I'm saying we because I relate to you, but, like, we're not training like Arnold and everyone, like,
Hmm.
we're not training bodybuilders, so and like, I've seen not to say that they aren't still completely healthy and active, but they just kinda struggle to move their body the way that they used to, and I really wanna I agree with you in the sense that I do wanna be able to move my body
Hmm.
in a way that I wouldn't be able to if I wasn't active, so I think that's a
Yeah.
very I think that'd be a very rewarding thing as we get older.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sustainability is like really such a hard part to master. And that goes along with like the diet with the exercise too, of, the healthy or any habit that you want to keep. It's, if you go full force, like, oh, I'm going to go change 20 things about my life tomorrow because it's Monday or because it's New Year's Day and that's my resolution for the year. Like, you're not going to do that. You're going to do it for 2, 3 days, 2, 3 weeks, maybe 2, 3 months if you're really, really dedicated, but that's not stuff that you can keep up long term. So finding something that is good for you and also can fit into your life is a key,
Right,
so that you're
right.
able to do those things long term.
No, absolutely. Um, well, honestly, at this point, we're kind of wrapping up the episode. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you share like any advice or any little tidbits that you have for the audience, like just any pieces that you have. You could go ahead and share them for me.
Ooh, oh my goodness. I should have prepped this beforehand. Um, put me on the spot. I would say one thing that I have struggled with the most, and I still can struggle with sometimes, and would want other people to not have to struggle with, is being like, you're not always going to have the good days, and that's 100% okay. And especially as being a woman, like, depending on what phase of your cycle you're in, your body's going to perform differently, and depending on what you had for breakfast and lunch, your workout in the evening might look a little different day to day, or how you perform, how you look, how you interact, the quickness of something or the amounts that you are doing can totally change, and that doesn't mean you're regressing, or that you aren't working hard enough, or that you should give up in any capacity, because every time you move your body, you're moving forward, even if it doesn't always feel like it. It's not a line, it's not linear, it's not always uphill. So just, I know we keep saying it over and over, like the consistency, like finding something that works for you and keeps you happy, and it actually brings you joy, and you're not just doing it because you're supposed to or because you have to, is just really important. Like, doing what feels good and what's right for you in the moment and in your life is the only thing that actually matters. And
Absolutely.
to not let that stuff get in the way, to just do it.
Absolutely. And I really love the fact that you said every time you move your body, you're moving forward. I think that everyone, regardless of where you are in your fitness journey or whatever your health journey, whatever it is that you may be on, I think it's really important to remember that every time you move your body, you're moving forward. You're doing
Hmm.
something to better yourself. So I
Yep.
completely agree with that, and I love the fact that you said that.
Well, thank you. I had somebody told me one time, I think I was just having a really bad day and I didn't want to go to the gym, or I was feeling really bad about myself, and they said, "Well, how many people do you know, just even personally, that are at home on the couch right now, not doing anything?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"Well, probably a lot." And not that what they're doing is bad, but I'm moving, and that is a positive. So I'm doing one nice thing for my body that maybe somebody else is not. And
Mhm.
it doesn't, yeah, that sounds bad. I'm not better than anybody else because I'm going to the gym when somebody's at home, because I promise you, I am at home on my couch just as much as the next person. But like in that moment, I feel really crappy, but I'm moving. I got up, I got off the couch, and whatever happens after that is whatever, who cares? But I got up off the couch. Like I made that first step. So
Exactly, and
it's
that's
always
the
forward.
key takeaway is that you made that step.
Hmm. It's a hard step sometimes, but we
It
got to
can
get there.
be. It definitely can be, no matter how advanced you may be. You
True.
I guarantee people still struggle to find that motivation and to find that self-discipline to get up and move, but, if you can do it, perfect. When you're able to do it, that is
Yes.
perfect as well.
Yep. When you're able and it fits in your life. Yes. I love it.
Absolutely. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the episode. I want to thank you again, Liv, for
Yeah.
being able to join me. I know I was having some technical difficulties earlier, but I'm so
No
glad that
worries.
this was able to happen. It was such an honor to have you on today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm excited to be a part of your show. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And as you guys know, Fiercely Made Fit with Tiana B is available on Spotify and YouTube at the moment. So go ahead and follow and like the episode and previous episodes. That would be fantastic. Um, Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.